All right, so ready to get our hands dirty? Let's dive into something you might not think about every day, like when's the last time you thought about, vehicle cleaning?
Yeah.
We see those sparkling clean cars around, but I don't
Mm.
think about what goes into it.
It's one of those things like it's easy to take for granted, right?
Totally. So how do they get so sparkly? What's the actual work behind it?
And maybe even more importantly, can this like seemingly simple job teach us about other careers,
Yeah.
even our own?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we're getting meta with car washes today.
We might be.
All right, well, luckily we've got these articles from RoleCatcher.com,
Yeah.
and they are a gold mine of info.
Oh, that's cool.
We've got 3 of them: career guide, vehicle cleaner, ace your interviews, and this one I love, streamline your job search.
Nice, nice.
Okay, so just from reading the titles, I'm already thinking career paths, interview tips, job searching.
Right.
There's like a whole industry here.
But there is. And I think, one of the things that really struck me, going into these articles was how much more there is to it than just, like you said, a bucket and a sponge. Right?
Yeah.
We're talking specializations, career ladders,
Okay.
even tech is playing a big role, which we'll get into.
Okay, that's way more than I expected, honestly. I
Yeah.
thought this was going to be pretty straightforward, like, here's how to wash a car, the end.
Right.
But no, there's all this other stuff. Let's start with this career guide. It actually breaks down the career path of a vehicle cleaner.
Yeah. And you can go from really those entry-level tasks to like managing a team and being responsible for like the quality of a whole like shop's work.
So you could start at the bottom and work your way up to like detailer to the start.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're telling me this isn't just a dead-end job. Like, there's room to grow here.
There is. And it makes sense if you think about it, right?
Okay, why?
People are holding onto their cars longer than ever these days, their investments. So that means more demand for not just like a quick wash, but like detailing, stuff that maintains the value of the car.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, my car is like an extension of me. If it's dirty, I feel gross.
Yes.
So I can see why people are willing to pay for that level of care.
Absolutely.
All right, so walk me through this career ladder a little bit. The guide breaks down the typical tasks at each level. Like, where do you even begin?
So at that entry level,
Yeah.
it's all about those fundamentals. Like, are you washing? Are you vacuuming?
Okay.
Are you getting those cup holders spotless? Right. It's like building a really solid foundation.
Got it. Got to learn the basics before you can move on to the fancy stuff.
Exactly.
But I did notice, even at this early stage, they emphasize basic maintenance checks.
Yeah.
Like tire pressure, fluid levels, things I should probably do more often, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying even a simple job can teach you valuable skills.
Totally. And it's that attention to detail that really matters.
Yeah.
And also, you're not just cleaning, you're starting to understand like how a vehicle works.
Right.
Which is a great foundation to have as you move up.
Right.
Right. Because then you might like specialize in stain removal using like specific cleaning products for different types of stains.
Oh, yeah. Like, what do you do about like melted chocolate on the seat asking for a friend?
Exactly. Right. Or like polishing, waxing.
Okay.
There's so many different avenues you can go down.
They even talk about steam cleaning upholstery.
Right.
That's like next level cleaning.
It is.
Okay, so you've mastered the basics. You're moving up the ranks.
Yeah.
What's next?
So this is where it gets really interesting because it becomes less about like the specific tasks and more about like your skills, your interests, and where you want to take it, right? So like one path you could go down is becoming a team leader. So instead of just focusing on your own work, now you're supervising others, making sure everyone's meeting quality standards, hitting deadlines.
Okay, so you're like the manager of the car wash crew.
Exactly right. You're making sure those cars are sparkling, but you're also managing people, which is a whole other set of skills.
Makes sense. Someone's got to keep those detail-oriented folks on track.
Exactly. Or you might find yourself drawn to the more technical side of things.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you really love those like advanced cleaning techniques or, applying those protective coatings we talked about.
Okay, yeah.
You could become a specialist in that.
So like instead of being the manager, you're like the master crafts person.
Exactly.
You're the one with the secret techniques.
Right, exactly.
I love that. All right, so we've got the team lead route. We've got the technical specialist. What if you're like, I want to do my own thing?
That's where the entrepreneurial spirit comes in.
Yeah.
Because you can actually start your own detailing business, right?
No, okay.
You can go mobile, you can have a shop.
Okay.
There are lots of different ways you could go with that.
So you could be like the detailing doctor making house calls.
Exactly.
I love it.
Or, you could have your own shop and people bring their babies, their cars to you.
Oh, right, right. They're prized possessions.
Exactly.
Okay, so there are options, but the guide also gets real about the pros and cons of this line of work. What are some of the like downsides?
Mm. Yeah, and I think it's important to look at those because no job is perfect.
Right.
Of course not. Right.
And some of them might surprise you. So, for instance, like the flexible hours are actually a huge draw for a lot of people.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Like if
Uh,
I need my car detailed, I can't just take it in during like normal business hours.
exactly. Right.
So you have to be available when the clients are available.
Exactly. So it's great for flexibility, but that also might mean you're working evenings or weekends.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Trade-offs.
Exactly. And then, there's the physicality of the job, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You're on your feet a lot, bending, lifting,
Well,
scrubbing.
it's a good workout,
Yeah.
but it can be tiring.
Yeah. Especially if you're like detailing a minivan full of like soccer cleats and crumbs.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
that's a workout.
And let's not forget about, potential exposure to chemicals and fumes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Safety is a big deal in this industry, and it's something that RoleCatcher really emphasizes in all of their guides.
Okay. That's good to know. So they're not just like sugarcoating it, they're being realistic.
Right, exactly. It's not all, sunshine and rainbows, but for the right person with the right skills,
Hmm.
the right mindset,
Yeah.
it can be a really solid and rewarding career.
So they laid out the career ladder, the pros, the
Mhm.
cons. Like, it seems like they're really trying to give people a full picture.
Yes.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, it's more than just, can you make this car shine? It's about like your work ethic and your people skills and like all these other things, right?
Exactly.
Interesting.
And that's where, actually this Ace Your Interviews page comes in really handy.
Oh,
Because even if you have all the skills, you got to be able to communicate that to a potential employer.
right. Yeah. First impressions matter.
Exactly.
Okay.
And let me tell you, they had some really interesting stuff in here, including AI-powered interview practice.
Wait, what? Hold on. AI.
Yeah,
For car wash interviews. This is already way more high tech than I imagined.
I know, right?
All right, I need to hear more about this. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere, listeners. We'll be right back to dive into these AI interview tips, and who knows, maybe it'll help you land your dream detailing gig. All right, so before the break, you were telling me about AI for car wash interviews.
Yeah, AI-powered interview practice.
Okay, I gotta be honest. I am picturing like a robot in a white coat holding a bucket and a sponge grilling me on my detailing techniques.
Okay, well, not quite that, but
Oh, right.
it is pretty cool. So you basically record yourself answering common interview questions,
Okay.
and then the AI analyzes your performance and gives you feedback.
Okay, so it's like having a secret weapon, a secret coach in your pocket.
Exactly, and it'll give you tips on things like your body language, your tone, even if you're like actually answering the question well, which honestly, sometimes I need help with that.
Oh, same. Sometimes I just start rambling and I'm like, did I even answer the question? I don't know.
Exactly. So this can kind of help you stay on track, and it's tailored to this specific industry, which is really cool.
Oh, that's really smart. Okay, so what kind of questions should people be prepared for in like a car detailing interview?
So some of them are pretty standard, like tell me about yourself. Why are you interested in this job?
Sure. Yeah, those are classics.
But then they get into the really specific stuff. So one example that RoleCatcher highlighted was, how would you prioritize tasks when cleaning multiple vehicles at once?
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Like, it sounds simple, but I bet that actually reveals a lot about how you think, you know?
Exactly. It's about organization, time management, understanding that like different clients might have different needs or deadlines.
Totally. Like, if someone's got to get to a wedding and their car's a mess, that's priority number one, right?
Exactly right. So you got to be able to think on your feet and juggle multiple things at once.
Okay, that makes sense. What other curveballs did they throw in there?
This one I thought was really interesting. How do you handle a situation where a vehicle is damaged during the cleaning process?
Oh, no.
Talk about a nightmare.
Yeah, that's like every detailer's worst fear. I mean, I would just like melt into a puddle of shame.
Right, but it's going to happen, it's bound to happen at some point, even to the best of us, right?
Yeah.
So it's not really about whether it happens, it's about how you handle it.
So they're really testing your like problem-solving skills there.
Exactly, like, can you stay calm under pressure? Can you take responsibility?
Can you still like function when you're panicking internally?
Exactly. And can you communicate clearly to both your supervisor like what happened, and also to the customer, like how you're going to fix it, right?
Yeah, that's huge because if you just like try to hide it, it's going to be so much worse.
Exactly. It's all about communication. And I think that, again, highlights how these like soft skills,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
communication, problem solving, are just as important in a way as knowing how to like use a buffer.
Yeah, because no matter how good you are at your job, if you can't talk to people, you're going to run into problems.
Exactly, exactly.
It-
So RoleCatcher did a really good job, I think, of highlighting that aspect.
Yeah.
And of course, they also get into, like, actually developing your practical skills.
Yeah, how do you actually get good at this?
Right, because you can't just, like, watch YouTube tutorials all day, although those can be helpful.
Oh, for sure. I've learned how to do a lot of things on YouTube.
Right, exactly. But they really emphasize getting hands-on experience early on.
Okay.
So even if it's like part-time work or like an apprenticeship at a local car wash or a detailing shop, it's a chance to, learn the ropes, see how things are actually done, maybe pick up some industry tricks.
Okay, so like find a mentor, someone who's been there, done that, gotten that car sparkling clean.
Exactly, because they're going to have those little tips and tricks that you just won't learn from a book.
Yeah, and I bet you can make those connections too, like network with other people in the industry.
Exactly. Building that network is so important. And then, once you have that solid foundation, then you can start looking into more specialized skills.
So like if I want to be, the paint correction queen,
Exactly.
what do I need to do?
So they really highlight things like workshops, seminars, even formal training programs for things like that.
Oh, wow. So it's like you can really go all in on this.
Oh, yeah, you can get certified in this stuff. And it's not just about the specific techniques, but it's also about the latest products, technologies. Like the industry is always evolving.
Right, because cars are changing.
Exactly. New car models, new materials, new technologies. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve, you've got to keep learning.
It's like being a doctor for cars. You got to keep up with the latest medical, well, I guess it'd be like mechanical advancements, right?
I love that analogy. You're like a car doctor,
Yes.
keeping those cars healthy.
Keeping them clean, shiny, healthy. I love it. Okay, so speaking of technology, we've talked a little bit about robotic car washes,
Yeah.
AI,
Yeah.
but what are some of the other ways that technology is like changing the game for vehicle cleaning?
So one that I think is really cool is, remember those protective coatings we talked about?
Yes.
Like they're now ceramic coatings that can last for years.
Wait, years?
Years. They'll offer protection against like UV rays, scratches, even bird droppings.
I need that for my life, for my car.
Right.
But how do you even apply something like that? Is it like waxing, but more high tech?
It is more involved than your typical wax. It involves like specialized training, often specialized equipment,
Okay.
and it has to be applied in a specific way to make sure that it adheres to the paint correctly. And then there's a whole curing process. It's pretty wild.
So you need to understand like the chemistry of it, not just the application.
Exactly. You got to know what you're doing,
Mm.
which is why, those training programs can be really helpful.
Okay, so it's like science meets car detailing. I
Right.
never would have thought, okay, what else is out there? What's like on the horizon? What does the future hold for like the tech savvy detailer?
So this one's going to sound like we're like really going off the deep end.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me.
Data analytics in the detailing process.
Data analytics for cleaning cars. What does that even mean?
I know it sounds kind of crazy, but it's a thing. And it's becoming more and more common, especially in like high-end detailing shops.
Okay.
So they're using sensors and software to collect data on like everything, water usage, chemical concentrations, even like the drying time for different coatings. And all of this data is used to optimize.
Okay, so they're like analyzing every little detail to make the process as efficient as possible.
Exactly. It's all about efficiency and sustainability, right? Because if you can reduce waste, if you can streamline your processes, that's good for business, but it's also good for the environment.
So are you telling me that like my car wash of the future is going to be run by robots and algorithms, and I'm just going to like drop off my car and it's going to come out like magically sparkling?
Pretty much. I mean, we might not be there yet, but that's kind of the direction things are heading in.
That's wild. Okay, so we've gone from scrubbing grime to like analyzing data points.
Right.
This is a whole other level of car washing. I love it.
It is. And it just goes to show, like, with technology, there are always new opportunities, new career paths emerging that we might not even be able to imagine right now.
Yeah, so if you're like tech savvy and you love cars, maybe this is the industry for you.
Exactly. Exactly. And speaking of like, finding those opportunities,
Yeah.
one thing that really impressed me about RoleCatcher's Streamline Your Job search page was this concept of employers actually using the platform to find you.
Wait, hold on, back up. So we talked about the AI interview prep,
Right.
but now you're telling me that the employers are using AI to find their perfect detailer. It's like online dating, but for jobs.
Exactly. It's like a matchmaking service.
I love it. Okay, tell me more. How does that work?
So employers on RoleCatcher can create a profile of their ideal candidate, listing the skills, the experience, even the personality traits that they're looking for, and then the platform's algorithm goes out and finds the best matches from its pool of job seekers.
Okay, so it's not just me sending out my resume to like every car wash within a 100-mile radius.
Exactly. It's much more targeted.
So you're like putting yourself out there for people who are actually looking for your specific skill set.
Exactly. And it takes a lot of the guesswork out of the job search. Right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Imagine, instead of chasing after jobs, the jobs come knocking on your door because you're a perfect fit.
Okay, yeah, sign me up for that. That sounds way less stressful than like the endless scroll of job boards.
Right. It's like way less rejection, too, because you're only going to be matched with employers who are actually looking for what you have to offer.
Okay, so we've got the AI interview prep. We've got the algorithm matchmaking. This is like high-tech job hunting at its finest.
It is. And what I really liked is that they take it a step further. They go beyond just matching keywords on a resume. Yeah.
Okay, so it's more than just like, oh, you said detail-oriented. Check.
Right, exactly. They're actually looking at your experience. They use personality assessments. They want to get a holistic picture of you as a candidate.
Oh, so they're really trying to make sure it's a good fit, not just for the employer, but for you too as the employee, which makes a lot of sense.
Exactly, because when you're in a job that you enjoy, that you're good at, that you're a good fit for,
Yeah.
you're going to be more productive, you're going to be happier, you're probably going to stay in that job longer. It's a win-win for everyone.
It's like they're taking the human element and they're like digitizing it, but in a good way. That's really cool. Okay, so we've gone from scrubbing grime to navigating algorithms, and it's all thanks to RoleCatcher.
Right.
This has been quite the deep dive.
It really has, and we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore. But I think this gives us a really good overview of, just how much opportunity there is in this industry that maybe we don't always think about.
Yeah, I'm honestly really surprised by like the depth of it all.
Yeah.
I went from like, oh yeah, car washes to, wait, this is like a whole thing.
It is a whole thing, and it's a
Yeah.
growing industry.
Right.
And like we said, with technology, it's just going to keep evolving.
Okay, so if you're out there and you're thinking about a career in vehicle cleaning, or you just want a job that's like stable and in demand, maybe don't rule this one out.
Absolutely not. There's a lot of potential here.
All right, well, on that note, listeners, we're going to take a quick break, but we will be right back. We've still got more to unpack from RoleCatcher, so stay tuned. Okay, so we're back and ready to talk car wash safety.
Yeah, because it might seem pretty straightforward, but when
Yeah.
you're dealing with the chemicals in the water, the equipment,
Right.
safety is so important.
For sure. And RoleCatcher seems to agree because they have a whole section in one of these articles dedicated to it.
They do.
So let's get into it. Like, what are the actual hazards we're talking about, and how can people protect themselves?
So one of the biggest risks is exposure to harsh chemicals, right? You've got those heavy-duty cleaners that cut through grease, grime,
Yeah.
tough on your skin.
Yeah, those things are no joke.
Exactly.
So gloves, right, like that's got to be rule number one.
Absolutely. Gloves are a must-have, but not just any gloves, right?
Oh.
Because RoleCatcher actually recommends nitrile gloves specifically because they offer better protection against chemicals and punctures than like your typical latex or vinyl gloves.
Okay, noted. Nitrile gloves, check. What about eye protection? Do I need like a full-on face shield for this line of work?
So for most tasks, safety glasses should be sufficient, especially when you're dealing with potential splashes. But, if you're working with like really concentrated chemicals or using power washing equipment,
Right.
yeah, a face shield is a good idea for that
Mhm.
extra level of protection.
Better safe than sorry, especially when it comes to your eyes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so gloves, check. Eye protection, check. What about like the rest of our gear, shoes, anything else?
Yeah, so sturdy closed-toe shoes are a must. You're on your feet all day,
Yeah.
and, slips, trips, falls.
Okay.
Those are hazards, so you want to make sure you got good footwear.
Okay, so are we talking like steel toe boots here? Or, like, what's the car detailer's shoe of choice?
I mean, steel-toe boots might be a bit much,
Okay.
but something with good arch support and slip-resistant soles is going to be your best friend.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Comfort and safety, got to have both.
Exactly. And then what about breathing? Because I imagine there are some fumes happening with all those chemicals.
Yeah, absolutely. So RoleCatcher really emphasizes wearing a mask, especially when you're working in enclosed spaces or with products that produce strong fumes.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, what about like repetitive motions? Because I feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again. Does that take a toll on your body?
Totally. Repetitive strain injuries are definitely a real concern in this industry. So things like carpal tunnel, back pain,
Yeah.
those are things to watch out for. So RoleCatcher actually talks about like proper ergonomics, taking breaks to stretch, move around.
Okay, so ergonomics isn't just for like office workers.
No, it's for everyone. It's about like how you're moving your body, how you're using your tools.
Right, because even if you're really strong, if you're using your body wrong, you can still hurt yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the chemicals, the equipment, the repetitive motions. What about like just being aware of your surroundings in general?
Yeah, that's something else they emphasize because you might be in a busy car wash, you might be in someone's driveway, and you need to be aware of what's going on around you.
Okay, so like not just the stuff you're using, but like other cars, people, hoses, all of that.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay, so this has been a really interesting look at the safety side of vehicle cleaning, and I think it's a good reminder that no matter what job you're doing, there are always risks involved.
Always.
But if you're aware of those risks and you take the right precautions, you can definitely minimize your chances of getting hurt.
Exactly.
And that's important, right? We want to be able to keep doing the jobs we love.
Absolutely.
All right, well, on that note, I think we've pretty much covered everything we wanted to discuss today.
We covered a lot of ground.
We did. We talked about the career paths in the vehicle cleaning industry, the technology that's shaping the future of work, how to ace your interviews, even how to stay safe on the job. Big thanks to RoleCatcher for providing such insightful articles.
They're a great resource.
They really are. And to our listeners, we hope you found this deep dive informative and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
Inspiring. Yeah.
Because no matter what line of work you're in, there's always something new to learn, no skills to develop, and maybe even a few surprises along the way. So keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.